We are not afraid to die if we can all be together. The world's roughest sea is the Indian Ocean. They prepared for the worst scenario. Whatever happens, let us face it. They saw the most beautiful island. The crewmen were losing their hopes. He is the best daddy in the world. Hello students and welcome to Prep School English classes. Today's topic, Chapter 2 from your Hornbill textbook. The lesson title, We Are Not Afraid to Die If We Can All Be Together. The title of the lesson itself suggests that it is an adventurous lesson. It is an adventurous story. And the characters in the story have gone through a disastrous time. This is a story about endurance, selflessness, and courage in the face of adversity. When I say adversity, it is tough times. The traits of the narrator in the story shows that he is the best captain. So, what is the story all about? In the lesson, we are not afraid to die if we can all be together. I will be discussing in today's session what is the title and the theme and also who is the author, followed by significance, moral of the story, what is the conclusion, what is the message, what are the expressions and who are the characters, what are the words in context, and the summary with expected questions and conclusion. So to repeat, today's session is all about the author, title, theme, significance, moral and characters, and you will see words of context and expression followed by expected questions, the summary of the lesson, and also what is the conclusion of the lesson. So let's look at who are the authors of the lesson. Jordan Cook and Alan East. Jordan Cook and Alan East are the authors of this lesson. When you look at Jordan Cook, he is a two-time Canadian Olympic sailor. So he is a great personality. He is an Olympic sailor and he has done it twice. He is a Canadian Olympic sailor, and Alan is a litigator, manager and a legal trainer. This is a real story of the narrator, that is Jordan Cook himself, while he was on a voyage around the world with his family. The story is about optimism, determination, and strong willpower that raises one's spirit to fight against any kind of obstacles. It could be even facing death. This is a real story of the narrator. He tells us about how he and his family had to wage a war against the sea for their survival while they were on a voyage sailing around the world. So let's have a quick look at what is the overview of the lesson. To start with the story, I told you it is an adventures of a family when they are on a voyage. So the story is about adventures of a family which is on a voyage. Coming to the next, what is the central idea of the story? Courage can help anyone to overcome any situation. You are in any kind of situation, any kind of fear that you are facing. It's only courage that can overcome you out of that situation. So courage can help anyone overcome the situation being the central idea. Let's look at what is the theme. The whole story revolves around the theme courage, bravery and togetherness. The story revolves around the courage of the narrator and his family and the braveness of the family, and together they stand united. So that being the theme, let's look at what is the message. You all would have heard about this many times. Unity is strength. So that being the message, let's look at what is the moral of the story. One should never lose hope. Never should one lose hope under any situation or circumstances. That hope once lost, you are a failure. So never lose hope, be it how bad the situation or circumstance. And what is the conclusion? To be successful, one needs to be optimistic. To be successful, one needs to be optimistic. One needs to have only positive thought and in believing in themselves and finding out solutions. So what is the conclusion of the story? To be successful, one needs to be optimistic about finding solutions. So this being what is the story, what is the central idea and the theme, followed by the moral message and the conclusion, let's look at the characters of the story. So the characters of the story are Gordon Cook's family themselves. The first one being Gordon Cook. Now Gordon Cook is the narrator himself. Remember, Gordon Cook, the main protagonist of the story, is the narrator himself. His wife is Mary. His wife is Mary, followed by he has got two children, a daughter and a son. The daughter is Suzanne. Suzanne is a daughter and the son is Jonathan. So Jonathan is the son. Okay, and you also get to see two crew members. Who are the crew members? They are the people who are in the ship to help out in navigation or any kind of other activities while they are on sail. So Herb Sigler and Larry Widgie are the two crew members. So the crew members here are Herb Sigler and Larry Widgie. So to repeat, the characters are Gordon Cook's family itself. He is the narrator. He has his wife Mary and along with his daughter and son Suzanne and Jonathan. And later on he takes two crew members. One is from Sweden and another one is an American. So Herb Sigler and Larry Widgie. So these are the team which is on a voyage, and these are the people who have faced a disaster during their voyage. So this is the team who truly believe that being together they can fight out the disasters what they are facing, and that is the path for their survival, and they have been successful. So with this, let me give you a little more details of the four characters. I have just depicted with a picture so that you can recollect. The first one being Suzanne. She is the daughter of Gordon Cook. She is 7 years old and she displays immense courage throughout the voyage. Children just being in the age of 6 and 7, having that courage when there is danger in the sea. So she displays immense courage, means a lot of courage. So that is Suzanne. And you see Gordon Cook's wife, Mary. She is a very supportive wife to fulfill her husband's dream. So she is a supportive wife and she improves the sea skills. She improves out of practice. She has done practicing sailing for a long time so that she can be a supportive wife to her husband during his voyage. The next one being the son. Sorry children, the picture looks like a girl's picture, but I did not have a boy to put there. So think that she is only the boy and I have named him as Jonathan. So he is a 6-year-old son. He has immense strength and optimism in the difficult times. So he is just 6 years, but the strength, that immense strength he carries with optimism is something to be appreciated. So that is Jonathan, and then the protagonist, the hero. Okay, he is known as the best captain, I told you, because of his traits. Okay, so he is a 37-year-old businessman, Gordon Cook. Okay, he spends a long time preparing for the voyage. So he was inspired by James Cook voyage, which took place 200 years ago. So he wanted to duplicate such a voyage with his family. So this being said about the family, moving forward, let's understand some words in context from your textbook. You're in chapter 2. It's a lesson of 3 to 5 pages. If you do reading line by line, you will come across few unfamiliar words. So what do I tell you all always? Never skip those words. Try to connect them to the context and understand and move forward in reading. So here are few of them for you. The first one being voyage. It's a very common word for you, isn't it? So what is voyage? Journey over the sea. Next one is bashed, means broken. Something which is broken is called as bashed. Mooring, used for tying the boat to a fixed object. Okay, so most of the words what you see here are related to the boat or the ship. One being mooring, it is used for tying the boat to a fixed object. Next one is gales, extremely strong wind. Strongest to wind, extremely strong, that's called as gales. Atrocious, you know about it, very, very unpleasant. Lashed is fastened, lashed is fastened. Oilskins is waterproof clothing. Some more to go. Aft off, what is aft off? Left behind, aft off is behind. Torrent, you would have heard about torrential rainfall, isn't it? So torrent means large amount, something which is in large and which is big. Capsizing is overturning. The ship capsized means it overturned. Sloshed is moving noisily. So something which is moved very noisily. And then scrambled means ran. Scrambled means what here? It is ran. The next one being forestay sail is a big front sail. Forestay sail is a big front sail. So debris is a broken pieces of material. Please quickly have a look at the words. Let's look at some more. The next one being stern. Stern is the back part of the boat. Stern is what? The back part of the boat. Children, unless you all understand these words, it's difficult for you to follow the lesson because all the words are related to the boat or the ship or the yacht. Okay. Sextant means an instrument which is used to measure angles and distances. What is sextant? It is instrument measuring angles and distances. Compass, you already know about it. It's an instrument to check the direction. Rigging, ropes that balance the mast of the boat. The ropes which balance the boat, that is rigging. Keel is a long wood and dinghies is small open boats used for emergencies. What are dinghies? These are the small open boats. For an emergency, you jump into it and you start sailing. Anchor, you know about it. Heavy metal object used to keep the ship fixed. You know the shape of the anchor also, isn't it? So it's a heavy metal object that is used to keep the ship in a fixed position. Some more to go. Storm jib. What is storm jib? It's a small sail used at the time of the storm. So it's a small sail used at the time of the storm. Knots means nautical miles per hour. Like madman means very hard. Followed by impending, approaching. Wrenched, removed and thrown away. It's removed and thrown where they are fixed. So what is wrench? Something which is thrown from where they are fixed actually. Okay. The next one being crewmen. Men who work on ships and then offshore is near the shore. So quickly have a look at these. So these were few of the words in context. It's very important that you understand. I don't tell you all that you have to by heart. You will get a question or what is the word meaning of stern in an exam. No. What I mean to tell you all is while you read the text, it is not good for you to skip the words that you don't understand. It's always better to connect it to the context, understand while you read. So this being said, there are few expressions in the textbook which is important for you to know. The first one being Horning are seafaring skill. What did I tell you? Seafaring skill. It is a knowledge of navigation, or it's a knowledge of how to sail, isn't it? So horning means what here? It is the efforts made to sharpen their skill. So horning is the effort made to sharpen their seafaring skill. The next one being ominous silence. What is ominous silence? Silence here refers to an impending danger. An impending danger is ominous silence. The next one, a tousled head, means disarranged hair. All your hair is scattered as if you have had a tough fight and you have come out. So tousled head is disarranged hair. Next one is Mayday calls. What is this Mayday calls? It is highlighted in your textbook, and yes, you can expect a question out of it. It is radio telephonic words which signals the ships or even the aircrafts stuck in the disastrous situation. So while you're on a sail, your ship is in a disastrous situation, you send some signals, some words as signals. Okay, so that is Mayday calls. And the last one being pinpricks in a vast ocean. Pinpricks means you're trying to get something out of nowhere. Search for small islands in vast ocean. The ocean is so vast, so very big, and you are just looking that, you get to see some small island where you can go as a refugee. So pinpricks in a vast ocean is search for small islands in a vast ocean. Quickly have a look at all the 5 expressions. So those were few of the expressions in your text. Moving forward, let's start with a summary of the lesson. What is the lesson all about? I have divided your lesson into subtopics. To start with, I'll give you an introduction followed by how did the voyage begin and what were the problems in the beginning, what disaster happened, what were the survival attempts, what were the damages that caused, the damages to the family, the damages to the boat, pinpricks in the vast ocean. I told you how did they try to get an island, try to figure out an island in that big ocean, and we are not afraid of dying. How did that term come there at all? And then the beautiful island. How did they land in a beautiful island, and why was it called the most beautiful island in the world? So these are the few topics that I'll be covering in today's lesson. Moving forward, I would want to give you a few referral images of Jordan Cook and his family. Have a look at it. He with his family, wife and 2 children. These are all the original pictures with his family, and then he made a news headline then after his voyage. So there's a paper cutting here, and also for you to understand how the route map is mapped in an atlas. So these are few of the images. Let's quickly start with a summary. So children, I will just tell you all the gist of the story. It's important later on that you read the textbook and understand the complete lesson. So moving forward, the family on sail. Once again, Jordan, wife and his 2 children are on a sail. So what is the introduction to the lesson? Around the world, voyages in a sailboat. Their voyage around the world was on a sailboat. It describes the thrilling journey across the sea. The lesson or the story describes the thrilling journey. They were very thrilled to go on this voyage and their encounter with death in their voyage. They had encountered death. I told you they had a sea war. They had to come out of that. So they had encountered death during their voyage. It also talks about the possible attempt to save their lives. The story talks about the number of times they have tried, they have attempted to save themselves and they were successful. So this is an introduction. It's about Jordan Cook family, their interest and thrill to go around the world on a voyage, and how it describes how they had encountered death and how they have come out successfully. Moving forward, the voyage begins. When does the voyage begin? It is in July 1976. And whom are we talking about? We are talking about Jordan Cook and his family. So what is it about? The family is set for a sea voyage from Plymouth in England. From where? From Plymouth in England. It's important when you start the answer, you need to say from Plymouth in England. And when is it? In July 1976. They wish to go around the world on a long sea journey. They wish to go around the world on a long sea journey. 16 years they have prepared to improve their marine skills. It's not simple to go, isn't it, around the world on a voyage. So 16 years Jordan and his wife has been preparing to improve their sea skills. So thus they are all set to sail the sea. Moving forward, so the narrator with his family. I've already shown you this picture. It's an original picture. It is Jordan Cook with his wife Mary and 2 children. So what is it about? It is in July 1976 that the narrator with his family set from Plymouth in England. Okay, he wanted to sail. Now, why did he want to sail? What interests him? What was his aspiration? So he wanted to sail because he wanted to duplicate the round the world voyage. He wanted to do a similar voyage which was done 200 years back. 200 years previously, it was done by Captain Cook. So he wanted to duplicate that. He wanted to take the same path. Remember what made Jordan Cook go on a voyage? Because he dreamt to duplicate the voyage which was made 200 years ago by Captain Cook. Okay, so that's important. Now, it was planned for a 3-year long voyage. How many years? 3-year long. Can you imagine on a sea, sailing on a sea? 3-year long. And what was the distance? It was 1,05,000 kilometers. They wanted to sail 1,05,000 kilometers. So going forward, this was their boat or the yacht or the ship, and it was called as Wave Walker. So a special private yacht or a ship or a boat was done, and that the named as Wave Walker. So what is it about Wave Walker? That was his dream. The sail in the Wave Walker was a dream for Gordon along with his family. It was a professionally built boat, and then it was tested for months in rough weather. It was not that it was built and it was kept on the water and then you go get inside and sail. No, it was tested for months in the rough weather. So how big was it? It was a 23-meter 30-ton boat. It was a 23-meter 30-ton boat. So this is about Wave Walker. So what is the name of the boat or the ship or the yacht of Gordon? It is Wave Walker. Going forward, I had mentioned when I was talking about the characters that there were 2 crew members. One was an American and another one was from Sweden. Now, why were the crew members taken? Jordan Cook, after his first part of the sail, he had reached Cape Town, and then he had to move further. He had to cross the southern Indian Ocean, which was the toughest part of his voyage. He wanted to sail further. He wanted to sail across the southern Indian Ocean, which is the toughest part of his voyage. So he needed some help, and that is why 2 crew members were appointed. So the first part was done. The journey, the sail was very, very pleasant, very enjoyable. So from where did they sail? They sailed to the west coast of Africa to Cape Town. I told you from Plymouth they reached coast of Africa to Cape Town. Then they took 2 crewmen. Why did they take? To help them tackle the world's roughest sea, the world's roughest sea is the Indian Ocean. So that is the reason Gordon Cook took the help of two crew members. Next, rough waves. Going ahead, they had to face rough waves. So what happened? The problem started. The problem begins now. The second day out of Cape Town, the very second day after Cape Town, they encountered strong winds and heavy waves. What did they face? Very strong winds and very big and huge waves. Wave sizes were up to 15 meters. How long was their boat? I told you 23 meters, right? So the wave only came up to 15 meters. Now the windstorms continued for the next few weeks, not even hours, not even days. For the next few weeks, they were facing these huge waves with strong winds. So the problem started then. So what happened? There was a very bad weather on a particular day. The weather was very, very bad. Let's look at it. It was Christmas Day. On the 25th December, they were around 3,500 kilometers away from Cape Town. They were 3,500 kilometers away from Cape Town. The weather was very bad the weather was, but still they celebrated Christmas inside very wonderfully. But no improvement of weather. There was absolutely no improvement of weather. Day by day it was getting worse. So worsened with passing days. So what happens? After 3,500 kilometers from the Cape Town, though they have traveled few weeks, from the very second day, the weather was very bad with strong winds and heavy, big and huge waves. So what happened next? There was gigantic waves. What is gigantic? Huge, very big, massive waves they encountered with. So it was on January 2nd, the very next day of New Year, after New Year's Day. Waves were gigantic. They were moving so very fast that the boat almost moved on the waves only. There was absolutely no control. The boat would move along with the wave on top of water. The gigantic waves were very, very dangerous. They were very dangerous along with huge winds. They prepared themselves for the worst scenario. So the family, the crew members, they prepared for the worst scenario. Whatever happens, let us face it. So what happens next? The disaster strikes. So I told you it was weeks and weeks that they were encountering with the strong and the big waves, isn't it? Now the disaster strikes. What happens to their boat? Let's see. It was the evening of January 2nd. And ominous silence. There was a silence, very threatening. The sky immediately grew very dark. The sky immediately grew very, very dark, and there were roaring sound. They could hear some roaring sound. It was tremendous explosion. It was a kind of a tremendous explosion. The sky was dark. They could hear roaring sound, and it was a tremendous explosion. The narrator who was standing with the wheel, he was smashed. He was smashed against the steering wheels. That means definitely he was hurt, isn't it? So he was trying to control his boat with the steering wheel, and he was smashed, means he was bashed there. He was thrown into the sea. What happened? He lost control and he was thrown into the sea. Can you just imagine a human being thrown into a sea when the weather is so bad, so dark, and with so much of noise and so much of wind, he is being thrown into the water. So what happens next? Thought he was dead. The thought of death to the narrator. Just imagine that scenario, dark, tremendous, big waves, lot of noise, absolutely no light, and of course the water is going to be very, very cold. You are smashed, you are first of all hurt, and you are thrown into water. What happens next is death itself, isn't it? So what happens then? Suddenly his head popped out. Suddenly he came out of water. Boat had almost capsized. It had turtle. It had almost reversed. Okay, tossed into the boat. He just tossed into the boat because the waves was carrying him. He has popped. He could see the capsized boat, so he got tossed into it. His left ribs cracked. His left side ribs were cracked, and his mouth was filled with full of blood. Why? Because he broke few of his teeth. So some teeth were broken and his mouth was full of blood. Managed to find the wheel and try to control. So along with the water, he was tossed into the boat. He managed to hold on to the wheel and he tried to control. So what happened after that? There were survival attempts. Now the situation is very bad and pathetic. He was left with nothing but how to survive, what has to be done. So the survival attempts were like this. The boat was flooding with water. Now the water has come inside the boat. Okay, the boat is broken. The water has come inside. It is flooding inside. So what happens if the boat is filled with water? It will naturally sink, isn't it? And that's very, very dangerous. And how will you come out of it when your boat itself is in water? And remember, he is responsible for his wife and his two little children also. So the boat was flooding with water, did not want to leave the wheel. He just did not want to leave the wheel because that was the only control he had over the boat. Now Mary comes out running and shouting and screaming to say, the boat is sinking, the boat is sinking. So Mary informs him that the boat is sinking and water was pouring in. Okay, so what does he do? He puts Mary into that wheel. He asks her to control the wheel. He hands over the wheel to her. He crawled, cannot walk. Okay, he crawled towards the hatch. And what did he do? The wooden beams were all broken. The boat was completely dismantled. Clothes, crockery, tins, toys moved around noisily. Everything was floating and it was hitting each other and you could see the noise. So all their things which they had kept for themselves, everything was dismantled and it was all floating. So you see what is the survival attempt. So damaged boat. The boat is completely dismantled. Water is rushing in from all sides. All the things are floating. Mary is with a steering wheel just to control the boat, and the narrator is trying his best survival attempt to keep his family and the passengers safe. Passengers means who? It's a crew member. So what happens with a boat which is completely damaged? So what is the status of the damaged boat? Hand pumps started jamming and electrical pumps got short circuited. Naturally, when there's so much of water, it will be short circuited, and then the water rose threateningly. There was a lot of water which was coming inside and it was raising high, so that brought in a lot of fear. No response to their mayday calls. What did I tell you all mayday calls were? The signals that was sent from the ship when it is going through a disaster. So there was no response of the mayday calls. So they managed to stretch the canvas. You have seen the yacht which has that canvas thick cloth, isn't it, to control the wind movement. So managed to stretch the canvas cloth and worked on covering the gaping hole. So wherever there were holes, they tried to cover it to avoid water coming inside. So that was the status of the damaged boat. Moving forward, on January 3rd, what happened on January 3rd? It was a morning. Previously, whatever survival attempts and the damaged boat was of January 2nd. So January 3rd morning, The pumps had reduced the water on the boat. So with their effort, whatever little bit they could do with the pumping of water, it had reduced the water on board. Each took rest for 2 hours in turns. The whole night they have been taking out the water. So each of them had to rest. So they took turns and they rested for 2 hours. They had survived 15 hours since the wave had hit the wave walker. So the wave walker ship was damaged. The wave had hit the wave walker ship. It was 15 hours since then. And then what happens? The boat was no more strong. It had weakened. There was no strength in the boat to handle or manage all the circumstances. So the boat was not strong enough to take them to Australia. Australia was the closest place where they could go, but it was not strong enough for the boat to take them there. Then that was on January 3rd, and they continue like that. Come January 5th, what will happen? Their relief was short-lived. For some time they were all relieved out of whatever dangers, but that was very short-lived. Once again the weather started deteriorating, means winds, waves, everything started happening. So the weather was deteriorating. By dawn the situation was very bad. So Sue was hurt with a big bump on his head. Suzanne, the son of Gordon Cook, he was hurt. I think he would have hit against a rough surface and then he had a bump on his head. So he was hurt. Mary was worried and tensed. Naturally, the mother with 2 children, with a husband, everybody in trouble, she was really worried and tense. The crewmen were losing their hopes. The crewmen themselves, after so much of experience they had, they only lost their hopes. So what happened? This was on January 3rd and that was on January 5th. Remember, the very next day, though everything started from Christmas, the very next day of New Year's, from January 2nd, things were very bad. So what happens next? Jordan Cook goes to his children, Susan and Jonathan. He wanted to go and give them little comfort. So, comforting the children, Jordan Cook, he was assuring them that they are going to make it. He was telling them, don't worry, definitely things will be fine and we will make it, thinking that the children would have been very scared and very worried. But what happened? John, that is Jonathan, his son, said that they were not afraid of dying if they can all be together. They were telling, Daddy, we are not afraid of anything. We are not scared of anything. We are not afraid to die if all of us can be together. So thus the title, we are not afraid of dying if we can all be together. So this gave the narrator a reason to fight the sea. What the son John told the narrator, that gave him a reason. Once again, he took up a spirit. He had all the spirits raised and then he wanted to fight the sea. This is very important. Then he tried his best to protect. Whatever was possible, he was trying his best. So his daughter Suzanne, what did she do? She gave a card which stated that she loved them both immensely. She had made a nice card where she depicted her father and mother, and she said that she loved them both immensely and hoped for the best. She said that, Pa and Ma, I have loved you all immensely and then I hope for the best. She had drawn caricatures of her parents, the cartoon structures, caricatures she had drawn on that card. So it was on January 6th. It was on January 6th. The weather improved, but the narrator and everybody felt defeated. So what happened? The most beautiful thing happened, that is the island. They saw the most beautiful island in the world, that is Amsterdam. Okay, so what is it about? So to recollect, The first part of the voyage was very pleasant, but the second part or the continuing part was a contrast of whatever the first part was. So, what happened? Everybody felt defeated. The narrator gave the steering to Mary. He did some adjustment and told her to just manage, and then with several calculation, thinking that they could get a island few meters away, but not sure whether their boat can take them that meter long. The narrator goes and he is dejected and he falls asleep, only to wake up. What happened? He gets up confused. His children come running, they fall on him, they hug him, and they tell him that he is the best daddy in the world. So that brings in a lot of confusion to the narrator. Hey, what happened all of a sudden? So they say, you are the best daddy in the world. Why do they say that? That is because they have reached a shore. They have reached the island. The world's most beautiful island, according to them, is Amsterdam. Their boat has taken them ashore, and the narrator can feel his feet on land, and it is unbelievable. To feel his feet on land, he is unbelievable. So the story ends like this. He rushed out of the deck and saw the most beautiful island. When his feet touched the land, he thought of the cheerfulness and optimism of all the people on the boat. When his feet touched the land, what did he feel? The cheerfulness and the optimism of all the people, Mary, crew members, and children in the boat, which made them pass through the worst stress. Thus, with all the struggles, only with that optimism, only with that courage and bravery, with a positive thought, with the spirit, they could come ashore and they were safe. So that's about the disaster. That's about the adventures they had in the voyage. So thus, what is the conclusion of the story? The conclusion is experiences teaches the potential of courage, perseverance, and tolerance whole. Experiences teach us the potential which courage, perseverance, and tolerance hold. Situations might be hazardous. Situations might be very, very difficult when we have to face death. But one should never give up or never lose hope. So the second part is situations might be hazardous when we are face to face with death, but one should never give hope. So don't give up hope. Be always optimistic. Be always positive. That will get you success. So that being the conclusion, let's look at what are the questions that you can expect from this lesson. So your short answer questions will be brief description of narrator's boat. A very short description of the narrator's boat. How long was the voyage? What was the distance? How long it was for a 3 year? What was the distance? 1,05,000 kilometer. Whom did the narrator employ and why? You have to mention the crew members. The second day out of Cape Town, what happened on the Indian Ocean? So that was the second day from Cape Town. The weather change on January 2nd. What was the circumstances? How was the weather on January 2nd and how competitive it was for the crew members? Impact of torrent. What was the impact on a heavy wind and wave? Amsterdam, why is it called the most beautiful island in the eyes of the narrator and the family? So those being the short answer, let's look at few of the long answer questions which are for 6 marks. Now, bad weather damaged Wave Walker. So you need to describe, elaborate and describe how did it damage the boat Wave Walker. And then describe harrowing experience of the narrator. What is the harrowing experience? What are the experience of the narrator? Children, this is where I tell you all, reading textbook is important. See, while I have given you a summary and I have explained, showing you some pictures, I have just told you, I have narrated the story. But when you have to pick up lines, when you have to pick up more content and key words and key phrases, then it is important you pick it up from your textbook so that your answers can be elaborated. So, narrator's efforts to save the passengers and the ship. Your passengers is nothing but his own family and the crew members. Why were they desperate to look for an island? Okay, pinpricking in a vast ocean. That is, why were they so desperate to look for an island, and how did they manage to? The children braved the situation, maturely discuss. It's an important question. How did the children brave the situation? That inspired the narrator also, isn't it? And I'm telling you all to read the textbook. And it is better that you read the story today itself so that you can connect what is in your textbook to what is that I have taught you in the class. That's it for today. To conclude, have a look at this picture. It says, divided we fall, united we stand. I hope the lesson has brought moral values for you. Be optimistic, be brave, be courageous, and fight out to be successful from any kind of obstacles in life. Remember, never underestimate nature. That's it for today. See you in my next session, invitation and replies. Until then, all smiles to you. Bye-bye.